Hello and welcome to ZigWheels. Now, just like all of you, we too are stuck at home during this lockdown, and I'm pretty sure, just like all of you, we too are pining to ride our favorite motorcycles. But just because we can't ride our bikes doesn't mean we shouldn't do other motorcycling things. And the best thing you can do right now is maintain your motorcycle or your gear. So let's start with something simple where you can stay home with me and we can clean our helmets together. Now this is my RI RX-7. This is pretty much my everyday helmet and it is now quite dirty since I haven't used it for quite some time, almost a month now I guess. So how do we start cleaning it? Well, it's not such a difficult task. First things first, we're going to tackle that face shield. So, or visor as you call it. So get that off. Now, obviously it will differ for each helmet. Now we'll put this away for a little while. Main thing is the face shield. How do we clean this? Well, it's simple. You just need a bit of warm water. In a spray is nice. And some good old kitchen rolls. So simply tear off a couple of kitchen rolls. So in my case, I'm taking 3 and basically just cover up as much surface area of your visor as you can and spray away with some nice warm water so that this sticks to your visor. Now what this is going to do is basically soften up all the dirt, the grime, the dried up insects, because yeah, we do get a lot of those on our visors, and once that's softened up it will make it much easier to clean. On the other hand, if you were just to rub it with something or just take a wet cloth on it, there's a good chance the hard debris on the visor might end up scratching it, and that's something we don't want, especially for our expensive visors. So yeah, even if they're not expensive, that's something we don't want, full stop. So best thing is just give it a good old splash. Now we've got a little bit still to cover inside, so we'll put one more tissue on that. Now you can even use regular tissue paper, it's just that it's easier with kitchen rolls because they're larger, but normal tissues should work fine as well. Okay, and just set that aside for the next, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. Let that nicely soak up everything. Okay, so let's put this away here in this corner where it won't bother us. And now to tackle the helmet. So now that we've got our visor covered up in wet tissues and all that dirt and grime is soaking up the moisture from the tissues, let's tackle our helmet. Now we have to tackle the interiors first because, well, the foam lining and everything, it does soak up a lot of your sweat and dirt and it gets quite messy. Now ideally you want to work on the helmet, you want to keep it upside down, but the best thing to have is a helmet donut. Unfortunately mine is stuck at my place. I'm at my parents' place, so I don't have one here, but what I do have is a little towel. So simply make it into a little donut thing. So we have a nice little padded surface for us to keep the helmet and work on it, and then get to removing everything you can remove. So first things are the cheek pads. Off they come. Then of course the headliner, and it's best to try and not force anything, let things come off properly as they're designed to. Now this is the headliner, as you can see. So in most helmets you will just have these 3 things that can come off: the 2 cheek pads and the headliner. But if you have some other kind of helmets like this RI for example, you can get a lot more things off, such as this neck roll that comes off as well. So that's off. And of course you also can take out the liners for the chin strap, which is actually quite a good thing, because those two get sweaty and dirty. So let's just get those off. That's one. And yeah, those is off. Okay, now that I've got all the insides of my helmet off, time to wash them. But before that, if you have an Arai helmet, well, you can also take out this cover on the cheek pad, and that can be washed separately. So that is a very good thing. So let me just get that off as well. Now all of this is going to go in the washing machine, but I would not dump it directly in there. So the thing to do is to have a washing machine bag, that little net mesh thing that you have for your delicate clothes. Well, I happen to have one right here. So just go ahead and dump all of this in here. Yep. And all of this, well, this goes into the washing machine. Okay, so now it's time to put our helmet innards inside the washing machine for a nice wash. And dump them in right there. Now, since you're only washing that much, we have to put very little powder in there, not too much, and then get things running. Now, what you need to do is ensure that it's on a delicate cycle, nothing rough for a helmet stuff, and just have wash and rinse, no spin. You can drop the water level down to 2, that's fine, and off we go. So now that you've dumped the insides of the helmet into the washing machine, it's time to get cracking on the helmet itself. And it might be a little tempting to use soap on it. It's best to avoid soap because it can be a little abrasive. The best thing is good old warm water always works best. And if you do need to get rid of some, I don't know, grimy stains, you can always use something that is less abrasive, like maybe baby shampoo. That always works well in this scenario. So you give it a nice spray everywhere, get into the little crevices where there could be some dirt. And what this spray will allow you to do is add some pressure. So especially some sticky dirt, some places which are hard to reach, well, it's easier to clean them with a spray. Now, again, if you have got some sticky, grimy bits on your helmet, kitchen rolls once again, always to the rescue. So now I've got some extra gunk on the front of the helmet, so I can just peel off one of these and try and soften that all up. And I think on the back too, I've got a little bit of grime. If your helmet is just dusty, then you don't need to do this. But if you've got some sticky stuff on it, yeah, this is the best way of doing it, because this will ensure that you don't damage your paint. Okay, so just let it sit for a few minutes, let all the dried stuff on your helmet get softened up by these wet tissues, and then we can clean the rest of it. So while we wait for the gunk on the helmet to get moistened up, we can finally tackle the helmet visor. And it's a bit of a mess out here, but thankfully we have our trusty towel. So mom is going to be so pissed off. Okay, so what you need is a microfiber cloth, because you don't want to scratch your visor up. And then with this wet tissue, just basically as you're taking it off, wipe the visor. So that will get rid of all the gunk that was stuck on your visor. Let it all come off, and yeah, you just get rid of this. And then give it a nice wipe using the microfiber cloth. Now it's important to ensure that there is no dirt or dust in the cloth itself, because again, that can damage your visor. If you need to soften up some more or moisten it up some more, you can spray it a little bit more as well. Now this is a pretty old visor of mine. That is the first visor that came with the helmet, so it's almost 3 years old now. next time I anyway replaced it because it's got some scratches on it, but I'm going to use it as much as I can because these things are not cheap. But trying to apply too much pressure because again we don't want any damage on the visor, and generally try and only hold the top and bottom parts of the visor so that you don't sort of grip it on the face shield part. So this looks fairly clean. I mean, there's still got some scratches on it, but yeah, I mean, I can't really help those at this point. Yeah, it looks clean enough, and if you want to really observe it, what you do is you put it against a light, like a tube light or something, and yeah, I can see that except for the scratches, it's in decent shape. Okay, visor done. Back to the helmet, and let's get rid of these tissues because they have done their job. And if need be, give it one more nice soak with a spray, and then it's back to your trusty microfiber cloth to clean everything up. Now sometimes I can be a little bit OCD and I might want to clean into places which can't be reached very easily with a microfiber cloth. Well, for that, this is the best thing you can do, and that is some earbuds. These things will get into all the little crevices of your helmet which otherwise you won't be able to reach into. And it's not necessary to do this, but I just have an OCD, I can't help it. So yeah, let's clean up. Oh yeah. Okay, now the thing is, there might be some debris and some dirt and some gunk that is stuck in the mechanism for your visor, and personally I need to get this off to clean it as well. Now normally most of their visors will have these plastic screws to hold the mechanism in place, and I'm going to do it, just use a spoon to open them gently, because if you apply too much pressure you can break those screws. The trick here is to be gentle with everything, don't force anything, because these plastic parts you really can break them, and that's not a good thing. Okay, so that is the visor mechanism on the left side of the helmet. Repeat for the other side as well. If it is a little bit stuck, because it can get so over time, just gently pry it with your spoon, and yeah, off it comes on the other side as well. Now we are going to quickly wipe underneath that. Make sure this section is all clean. And before we get to those mechanisms, the other thing I like to do is clean out the helmet straps, because these do end up absorbing a lot of sweat, and these two get quite dirty and they kind of get hard over time. So just spray them down and just thoroughly, and you want to make sure that you're wiping up the inside of the helmet as well. You don't want to leave any standing water or just water or moisture inside the helmet. So just make sure that's all dried up, so you can then keep your helmet upside down and the straps can dry. Also, there's some bits like this is also a textile material that can be taken out. So again, same process, just a little bit of water and wiping. Okay, now you need to leave at this, well, not the shell but the straps to dry. So simple thing, again, use your helmet donut and just leave this upside down somewhere, ideally somewhere on the ground. Don't leave it on a table, because if someone bumps it or whatever, it falls down, that's not good for your helmet. So I'm gonna put this away and we'll come back to the rest of the stuff. Now when it comes to these visor mechanisms, again we need to rely on our trusty friends, our earbuds. So basically just clean off all the excess gunk that is there, because you will have a lot of dirt and debris that has gone inside, especially along the channels on which the visor rotates. Those get dirty, and they are the ones, if they are clogged up, the visor will not move as freely anymore. So you have to just clean up those bits, and yep, again we can just moisten up everything. Okay, so now that we've got our helmet innards back from the washing machine, it's time to set them to dry. Now these will be quite wet because since we didn't run a spin cycle on these, yeah. So the best thing to put them down on a nice towel, because you don't want to leave a wet mess in your house somewhere else. And that's pretty much it. You can just leave these bits to dry overnight. Now it's important to not put them out in the sun because the sun can damage certain things, so it's best to leave them in a cool shaded place to dry on their own. On a towel is fine. And once they're nice and dry in the morning, just put everything back into your helmet the way it was, and there you have it, as good as new. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, how to clean your helmet. I know it was a little bit extra. I can be a little OCD with my helmets, but if you want us to do some more videos like this on how to take care of your gear, do let us know. Do drop your suggestions in the comments below. And in these difficult times, of course, it's very important to stay safe, to stay at home, and we wish all of you and yours a very safe few days at home. Thank you so much for watching.